So what's it like to own a Dodge Viper? I own a Gen 2 and a Gen 3, so I feel like I am pretty knowledgeable in this area. Bought my first one, my Gen 2, when I was 24 years old. Bought my Gen 3 when I was 27. The idea for this video came from a Facebook post that I saw kind of randomly, and someone was looking at buying a Viper, had I think 7 or 8 random questions listed. So I'm going to run through those because I think they give you a pretty good feel for what to expect if you're looking at buying a Dodge Viper. So the first question this person had was, how bad is the pedal offset? Personally, I never had an issue. I did not find it to be uncomfortable. If you are a taller person or someone with really large feet, big shoes, you might have an issue. But again, on the Gen 2 and the Gen 3, personally never found that to be an issue. And maybe it's just the way that I like to sit driving, but I found the car pretty comfortable in terms of driving position. Second question, and this is a big one here, this one a lot. How hot does the Viper really get? So I had a Gen 2 RT10, which is the essentially Targa convertible top, just removes. The exhaust pipes still go along the side of the car, but for me, the issue is mostly the transmission tunnel. It comes up really high next to you. That would definitely heat up. You could feel the heat coming up through the gear selector. The Gen 3, same deal. So long story short, Vipers do get really warm. The air conditioning was never a strong point. I don't know that it ever really got better. Maybe in the Gen 5s, I never drove one. I live in Pennsylvania, not a particularly warm state, and even I definitely felt hot driving both my Gen 2 and my Gen 3. The Gen 3 was also a convertible. The air conditioning, not that great. It might actually be better to have the convertible, so at least you get the constant airflow. If you're in a coupe where all you have are the windows down, it might not be as good. The real leather seats didn't help. You definitely felt the moisture if you were sitting in them for a while. So if you need to be cool, or if the heat bothers you, Viper might not be the way to go because you will definitely be warm. On the flip side, if you're driving in the spring or the fall or the winter, depending on where you are, if you can, when it's cooler outside, the car definitely heats itself up very nicely. You don't even need the heat on most of the time. So it could be a pro depending on exactly when you're going to be driving the car. Question 3 about the roll bar. This might specifically be for the Gen 2 because if you're familiar with the Gen 2, it has that bar kind of over the back behind the driver's seats, and it specifically says on the door, this is not a roll bar, not a safety device. Do not count on it. So the question is, are there replacement options, and how do you feel about driving around with that? I'm not familiar with replacement options. I'm sure someone has and can fab a true roll bar style to weld somewhere into the support of the body. Moral of the story is these cars are dangerous. They're one of the most dangerous cars ever built. You just need to respect it, be careful. Even if you have a roll bar, you can't count on that necessarily to help you survive in an accident. My answer for this question is, don't rely on the roll bar, even if it's there. I don't know of options. Just be careful driving the car in general. Not an official question, but I will go into this. How dangerous really is the Viper? I just said it's dangerous. I just said you have to respect it. That said, again, I bought my first one when I was 24 years old. I never had issues. I never felt unsafe. I think it is definitely important that you know the limits of yourself as a driver and the car in general. 2 big points to be a little safer. Buying an 01, 02 and later, that's when you got ABS. So if you do need to slam on the brakes, anti-lock brakes in that instance will help you actually stop. Earlier models did not have ABS. So if you slam on those brakes, you either need to know how to modulate the pedal or you're going to be sliding. The other big thing are tires. Viper tire sizes are very unique, historically very difficult to source, and a lot of Vipers have really old tires. That can lead to accidents as well. So if you're looking at buying a Viper, either make sure they have newer tires on them that are still in really good shape, or have that in your budget to spend typically about $2,000 between buying the tires and having them mounted. And those 2 things, ABS and tires, will do wonders in terms of safety of the car. The next question, how much of an issue are the side pipes? If you watch YouTube videos or you hear anyone talk about them, how hot the side pipes get and you can burn your leg, this and that. Again, I think this is an overblown issue. I never had a problem getting in or out of the car. As long as you're not resting your leg on it for multiple seconds at a time after a long drive, you won't have any issues. I cannot speak to Gen 1s. Those are the rawest of the raw. Those might get hotter just the way that the side panels are made. So I'm not sure, but if you're looking at Gen 2, Gen 3 and on, they definitely get hot, but not something that is going to scald you if you quickly brush your leg up against them. Question 5, how bad is the standard stereo on the Viper? It's not great, but my real answer to this question is you shouldn't be that concerned about the stereo when you have a V10 sports car at the helm. My Gen 2 Viper had aftermarket speakers, the whole nine, still wasn't great. It was enough to just play songs if I needed to. The Gen 3, I think, had an Alpine head unit, speakers maybe. Again, not great, nothing from Dodge at that time. I mean, even up into the modern era was really that great. So if that's a concern, is a really good crisp sound system, either plan on upgrading yourself or just getting something else. I'm sure, as with every car, there are some weird quirks in doing it, but I know it can be done. But overall, stock form, not great, but you want to listen to that great V10 anyways. The 6th question, reliability of Vipers. Overall, Vipers are pretty reliable. Now that comes with many caveats. Who was the previous owner? What do you truly define reliability? Is it strictly just the car running? Is it running flawlessly? I ended up having a couple of issues with both of my Vipers. My Gen 2 had some clutch issues that never fully got worked out and really led me to sell the car. Just didn't feel like I could get it dialed back in once the slave cylinder went. Had it in the shop a couple of times, never felt right after that point. Engine-wise, pretty bulletproof. Drivetrain, transmission itself, super robust. So no real issues there. Electrical issues, again, not really something that I'm familiar with. The Gen 3 had oil cooler line leaks, so I had to replace those. Had an exhaust manifold leak, ended up doing both headers, full exhaust. That was $6,000, so not cheap, but somewhat elective. I could have just done a header on one side or an exhaust manifold and kept it OEM if I wanted to. So overall, reliability can be pretty good. The big issue with the Vipers, and it's getting worse, is sourcing the parts. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've heard of headlights and hoods specifically for the Gen 2. Good shape headlights, I think right now are anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a piece. Hoods, same deal, almost unobtainium at this point. Again, several thousand to $10,000 to $15,000 for a hood in really good shape, and then you'd probably have to repaint it to match your car. Some parts, of course, are generic, shared with other Dodge Chrysler products, but you definitely want to go into this with your eyes open that things could be tough to find. Reliability should be okay, but if something does go wrong, it could be difficult to find someone that actually knows what they're doing. These are not just standard Dodges like you hear. I wouldn't just take it to a regular mechanic to work on personally. So be aware of that. And then just run-of-the-mill items are going to be a little more expensive as well. Tires, tremendously expensive versus lesser sports cars as well. But overall, just being able to drive the car, you're probably in good shape. You just need to be prepared if things do start to go wrong. And the last question here, how did I like the car overall? Just overall thoughts and feelings about the Viper. I think for the money, if you can get into a Gen 2 or a Gen 3, under 50 grand, and that can definitely be done, they can be tremendously exciting cars. I will always have, a spot in my heart for the Viper. That said, I don't know that I would buy one again at present. And what I mean by that is it is a thrilling car to drive, very special, very rare. My Gen 2 was one of, I think, 185. It was graphite gray. Just being able to know that you're in something that special is really cool. My Gen 3 was a 1 of 300 copperhead. So if rarity is something important to you, I think the Viper is a great route. It's a great car to drive. If you're looking for a driver's car, obviously the interior isn't great. The heat is an issue, things like that. But if you just want a car to go out on the weekends and really have fun or take the shows or whatever, the Viper is great. But I think the Viper's place is really as a second, third, fourth, etc. sports car. It's not something, you will find people that daily them. I wouldn't even try. Again, a lot of compromises depending on what you're coming from as well. The only thing more raw than a Viper would be, something like a true Shelby Cobra with no top, no roof at all. Other than that, I don't think anything really comes close to the rawness that you would get, especially in an early Viper. I can't speak to Gen 5s, never drove a Gen 5, way out of my league in terms of affordability as well, and they keep going up in price. I think if you know your way around cars, you come from Corvettes or Mustangs or whatever, and you just want something a little more special, and you're willing to spend the money, again, on a nice example is helpful as well. A Viper's a great car. super special, always will be. Numbers continue to decrease because they either get wrecked or totaled or whatever, so they will only become more rare. Really just a really cool community to be a part of as well.